Welcome everyone to another startup and automobile documentation.
What we have here is a 2018 Toyota Prius 4. This Prius is painted in classic silver metallic.
On the key fob you have the buttons for lock, unlock, and panic. It does also have smart key access for the front doors. Storage on the front door panels, power windows, locks and mirrors, and it does have a premium JBL sound system as well.
It has a black interior and the 4 trim comes with Softex seating surfaces.
It does have a fully powered driver's seat with two-way power lumbar support and a manual front passenger seat. But now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start it up. And it of course has a push button ignition.
If there's one car that you could say truly put the hybrid electric vehicle as we know it on the map, it would be the Toyota Prius. The Prius first debuted in Japan for 1997 as the first ever mass-produced hybrid passenger car. For 2001, it would make its debut for many other parts of the world, including the US. That first generation was actually a 4-door sedan, but ever since the 2004 launch of the second generation, the Prius has been a 5-door liftback. Around the launch of the second generation is when the Prius really blew up in popularity with its appealing combination of efficiency and proven reliability. It may have been a polarizing car, but it was nonetheless a monumental success. As of the 2025 model year, the Prius is now in its 5th generation. This 2018 model we have here represents the 4th generation of the Prius, codenamed XW50, which lasted from model years 2016 through 2022. Now based on the Toyota New Global Architecture platform, providing much more rigidity and improved driving dynamics, the 4th gen Prius was the 2nd generation to be offered as a plug-in hybrid. The XW50 Prius plug-in hybrid, branded the Prius Prime, actually got its own unique exterior fascias from the standard Prius. For 2019, the standard Prius got a mid-cycle refresh, which freshened up the styling, renamed the trim levels, and most notably introduced all-wheel drive as an option, a first for the Prius. Thus, this 2018 is a pre-facelift example. The US market 2018 model year Prius came in the following trim levels: 1, 2, 2 Eco, 3, 3 Touring, 4, and 4 Touring. The standard powertrain is a 1.8-liter inline-4 ICE with an electric motor, providing a net output of 121 horsepower. Front-wheel drive and an e-CVT automatic transmission were standard as well.
It has a centrally mounted, fully digital instrument cluster. Right here, it'll show your fuel gauge, digital speedometer, and then you also have little info display which can be gone through via this trip button. And then right here is a much more substantial information display which can be gone through via these controls on the steering wheel. Whereas this side is mostly just relegated to showing what gear you're in and various warning lights along with your digital clock. As for that information display, right here under info you have your energy flow monitor, other things like your drive monitor, basically tells you how economically you've been driving, compass, your radio info, you even have your climate control info. You can even control some of that if you just want it blowing on the driver or just for all the seats. And then we have this screen right here, basically just pertains to whatever driving aids you might have or safety features, messages, and then all sorts of settings. And you also have a heads-up display. It has a 3-spoke design, multifunctional steering wheel. I do believe this is Softex wrapped. And as for controls, First, on this side, you find your Bluetooth phone controls and your voice command button. This trip button pertains to this information display in the gauge cluster. Goes over your average fuel economy, range, and your trip computers, along with that odometer as well. You have your audio controls, information display controls, and with this stock you can control your cruise and adaptive cruise controls. Then you have your lane tracing assist and gap adjust buttons as well. And the steering wheel itself is tilt and telescopic. The parking brake is foot operated, power fuel door release, auto high beams, panel dimmer, traction control. You even have your parking assist if available with this heads up display button. When you push the button, it'll toggle between the whatever things you want it displaying. Also on this screen, it'll bring up the heads up display settings, which with these controls you can now adjust the height of it and the brightness of it. Climate vent for the driver. On this side is your exterior lighting stock, while on this side is your wiper stock. You also have auto wipers. So going down the center of the interior, you have your central climate vents, hazard switch, your large touchscreen infotainment system, which we'll go over more in a bit. Now your single zone automatic climate controls are built into the touchscreen. Even these buttons right here are not physical buttons, they're just all touch sensitive. But you have your temperature and your front and rear defrosters, and then the actual climate controls are in here. So you have your auto, fan speed, AC, different zones, that kind of stuff. Again, we'll go over this system more in a bit. Your electronic gear shifter is right here. Then you have your drive modes. You have normal, power mode for when you're really feeling like a beast in your Prius, and then eco mode. Then you also have an EV mode, so you can obviously just run solely on the electric motor without using the ICE. Now entering reverse does reveal a backup camera. Below here you will find the controls for your 2-stage heated front seats. You also have a wireless charging pad, you can toggle power on and off to that. 2 cup holders right here, a 12-volt power outlet, along with a USB-A port and an aux port, and you have a center console with a removable tray. Vanity mirrors and lights for both sun visors. You have an auto-dimming rear view with garage home link. And on the overhead console, you have your reading lights, roadside assistance, and your power sunroof controls. And there are grab handles at all 4 corners. So this is the touchscreen infotainment system in this 2018 Prius 4. Now for me personally, I'm not really a fan of not having an immediate volume knob to just twist, or having physical climate controls. They're not in here at all, but all personal preference. But anyways, right now we're on the home screen, so the 2 things along the bottom which will always stay here are your radio and then climate controls. So those are going to be staying put right there. And then again, these buttons right here are not even buttons, they're just touch screen as well. So I suppose we'll just go to menu. Now first we have settings, which is, again, quite a bit of stuff. Usual settings menu. You have your vehicle settings, your maintenance schedules, and then you have your navigation settings, general settings. But then back to the menu, under info, you have your energy monitor, You even have different views for that. Your past record for how economically you've been driving. Then your traffic information, local weather for SiriusXM Travel Link, if you have a subscription for that. So that's what it says under info. Then destination is just mainly navigation stuff. If you want to set a point of interest, of course you can look at the map itself. But then always in the background of here is going to be your navigation map itself, taking up the whole screen, which, as you can see, pretty responsive. You have your phone info, or Bluetooth, that kind of stuff. And then you have your, if you should have a subscription, your Entune app suite. And it will say you will need a compatible phone connected with Bluetooth, that kind of stuff. But that's just a brief gist of this infotainment system in this 2018 Prius. But now we'll roll down the driver's window and have a look at the engine bay. All four windows are fully automatic.
The 4 trim rides on these 15-inch 5-spoke alloy rims with two-tone wheel covers. The Prius is propelled by Toyota's hybrid Synergy drive, which includes a naturally aspirated 1.8-liter inline-4 combustion engine and a permanent magnet electric motor. The all-aluminum gas engine, which includes dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, and VVTi technology, is putting out 95 horsepower and 105 pound-feet of torque. The electric motor makes 71 horsepower and 120 pound-feet of torque. Total net output is 121 horsepower. Directing that power to the front wheels is an electronically controlled continuously variable transmission, or e-CVT. Running on regular unleaded with an 11.3-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates are 54 mpg in the city and 50 mpg on the highway. It has a McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension. 4-wheel disc brakes with vented front rotors and regen are standard.
And if I forgot to mention, your radio sources are AM, FM, SiriusXM, and Bluetooth audio streaming. The fuel cap is on the driver's side. Bottle holders on the back door panels. Folding rear seats. Both front seats have map pockets on the backs. Rear passengers do get a 12-volt power outlet, as well as a folding center armrest with 2 cup holders. And you have your rear dome light, coat hooks and grab handles. Now, as for space, I'm about 6'1". I put the driver's seat in a pretty comfortable position for myself. Legroom and footroom is actually not all that bad. However, headroom is not that great. My head's just about to hit the roof, although it still could be worse. Again, this is a compact hatchback at the end of the day, so it's not going to be an extremely cavernous interior, but it's also not tiny, and it's still relatively comfortable. I could definitely ride back here just fine. Really not much to complain about, especially considering how it is, again, a relatively small car. And I think this Ford, I think it's nice. You have the heated seats, JBL sound system, power sunroof, nice big infotainment system with the navigation, all that good stuff. Adaptive cruise. And I think, you know, I've got a few friends who actually drive Priuses, car guys who drive Priuses, or Prii, whatever you want to call it. And they do appreciate them because they're just so darn efficient. Even if... See, now, I think the 4th gen Prius doesn't look that bad. The 5th gen Prius, I think a lot of people are agreeing, it actually looks pretty good. For me, it's the 2nd and the 3rd gen Prius that just look ugly. The 2nd and 3rd gen Prius, that's the kind of Prius... I call the 2nd and 3rd gen kind of the quintessential Prius. That's the era when everyone was making fun of the Prius. And again, I think those are kind of odd looking, or just not... They don't look very good. 4th gen Prius that came out for 2016, which is what this is, I actually think, hey, that doesn't actually look too bad. And then, of course, the 5th gen, you know, a lot of people even think it's low-key beautiful. But if you can get past that, if you really like the Prius, if you don't care about the stigma at all, and appreciate these cars for what they are, I think you actually get a pretty good daily driver, nicely equipped, pretty reliable. These things have not heard very many horror stories about Prius reliability. From what I can tell, these are pretty solid cars that can go for quite a lot of miles. And again, that efficiency. Single exhaust, rear wiper. The Prius 4 provides 27.4 cubic feet of cargo space, which can be expanded on by folding the rear seats down. But anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2018 Toyota Prius. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.